June is a pretty quiet month this year, so I'm not going to pretend this is some huge release wave, but that doesn't mean there is nothing to play. In this video, we'll go through the 10 best new games of June, focusing on the releases that actually look worth your time. What's up guys, it's Broz, and here we go. EA Sports UFC 6 is landing in June with Alex Pereira and Max Holloway on the covers, which already gives the game a very current UFC feel. Pereira brings that terrifying left hook energy, while Holloway fits the pressure fighter side of the series, especially after how much EA is talking about individuality this year. Biggest change is how fighters move and react. EA is using markerless capture with the next version of Sapien technology, so athletes should look less like shared body types with different faces and more like their real selves in the cage. Strikes, movement, stance, reactions, and body shape are all meant to feel closer to the actual fighter. Real-time contact also adds frostbite-powered ragdoll physics and damage reactions, which should make knockdowns and ugly exchanges feel less canned. Flow state is another new piece. When a fighter starts landing clean and building momentum, their best skills can become more dangerous in the middle of a fight. Career-style content is also getting more attention through the Legacy, while Hall of Legends covers stories around UFC greats. Randy Couture and Ken Shamrock are also making their EA Sports UFC debut through the UFC Legends Fighter Pass. Hell Let Loose Vietnam brings the series into a war that big multiplayer shooters barely touch anymore. Expression Games is handling this one, while the original World War II Hell Let Loose keeps getting support. So Vietnam is being treated as its own battlefield, rather than a replacement for the older game. Matches are still built around 50v50 warfare. Squad leaders, commanders, spawn pressure, and voice chat that actually matters when the front line starts falling apart. Vietnam changes the map logic. US forces get helicopters for fire support and supply drops, while the North Vietnamese army can build tunnel networks that turn safe-looking territory into a problem again. Rivers have a real role too, with patrol boats pushing fights through the water, instead of leaving it as background scenery. Unreal Engine 5 is doing the visual heavy lifting here. Jungle cover looks thicker, and the mountain gorges give each map a stronger sense of height and pressure. Smoke and dust can turn a clean firefight into a mess within seconds, while the new movement adds swimming, climbing, faster crawling, and the ability to drag wounded teammates away from active fire. Gothic 1 Remake is one of those June releases that can look small next to louder games, but the RPG crowd knows why this one matters. The original Gothic came out in 2001 and built its name on a prison colony that felt hostile before the player even touched a sword. Alchemia Interactive is rebuilding that same Valley of Mines with modern tech, keeping the rough, uncomfortable RPG feeling at the center. You start as a prisoner thrown behind a magical barrier, inside a colony where 3 camps fight for control. Joining one faction changes how the character develops, and the world is still designed around people who have their own routines. Guards stay on their posts, workers move through the camp, people rest when the day is over, and trouble can start without waiting for the player to trigger a quest. The colony is supposed to feel like a place that keeps moving without you. The most Gothic detail is that the remake still avoids a minimap. Navigation stays tied to spoken directions, recognizable places, and a journal that helps without turning the world into a checklist. Combat has been modernized, crafting has been expanded, and the remake also adds new secrets inside a world that old fans already think they know. NBA The Run is trying to bring back the kind of arcade basketball people still associate with NBA Street, now with current NBA and NBA Players Association licensing behind it. Play-by-Play Studios is a small independent team made of sports game veterans, and the game actually started life as The Run, got next before the full NBA branding arrived. The Run builds every match around 3-on-3 street ball, where each run goes through 4 quick knockout rounds on real-world inspired courts. Rule changes can shift the pace from game to game, so the focus stays on fast reads, ankle breakers, blocks, dunks, and momentum swings. When a player starts making big plays, the zone system can open up signature abilities and flip around quickly. Unlocks run through cred, the in-game currency earned by playing matches, and it goes into cosmetics, dunk packages, taunts, badges, and banners without card packs. A late May beta is testing more players, knockout solos, and feedback changes before launch. Rookie versions of Steph Curry, Luka Doncic, and Kevin Durant are already tied to the deluxe edition, while Street Legends unlock through rank. The seventh Guest Remake brings back one of the strangest PC horror classics from the CD-ROM era. Back in 1993, the original became famous for its creepy mansion, puzzle rooms, and live-action scenes that had that strange, almost cursed early full-motion video feel. This new version rebuilds Henry Stoff's mansion with modern rooms, new handcrafted puzzles, and a much cleaner story presentation. 6 guests arrive at the house. Stoff keeps pulling them deeper into his game, and the mystery around the seventh guest sits at the center of everything. Gameplay is still about moving through the mansion, solving room-based puzzles, reading the space, and slowly opening more of the house. The most interesting tech detail is volumetric video. Real actors were captured in 3D, so their performances appear inside the rooms like ghosts standing in the same space as the player. That fits this game better than normal cutscenes, because the mansion is supposed to feel like it is replaying old sins around you. People who already own the 7th Guest VR on PSVR 2 or Steam get this version at no extra cost, and buyers of the remake get the VR version too. Tour de France 2026 is a very specific June release, but cycling fans usually know exactly what they are getting from this series. Cyanide is still focused on the full rhythm of stage racing, where energy has to be managed across long distances, team orders matter, breakaways can change the whole plan, attacks need the right timing, and that slow, tactical pressure where one bad descent can ruin an entire day. This year's biggest gameplay change is weather. Rain can hit during a stage, making descents more dangerous and bike handling more important. Slippery roads now matter, especially when the race moves from clear weather into heavy rain, and the player has to protect position without burning too much energy. Grand Depart in Barcelona also changes the team time trial. Relay order, leader protection, and synchronized effort now matter more, with the protected rider's time counted once they cross the finish line. That gives the opening stage more strategy than just holding speed. Customization is deeper too, with bike frame choices, weather-based clothing, and national champion jerseys. Content-wise, there are 100 playable stages, with the 2026 tour starting in Spain and building toward the final stage in Paris, plus Muscat Classic and another French one-day race added to the calendar. Solarpunk starts with a simple fantasy, building a small home above the clouds and slowly turning it into a self-sustaining skybase. Cyberwave is a small German indie team, and the game began on Kickstarter, where it reached its funding goal in 5 hours. The whole loop is built around growing food, collecting resources, generating clean energy, and expanding from one floating island to the next. You play in first person, building a home in the sky while keeping food, water, and basic survival needs under control. Crops matter, gadgets matter, and energy is the main toy. Solar panels, wind turbines, and water systems feed machines around the base. Automation then starts taking over smaller jobs, with drones gathering resources and irrigation keeping plants alive while the base slowly turns into a working ecosystem. Airship exploration gives the game its real shape. You build your own flying ship and move between distant islands in the clouds, finding new materials, expanding the base, and pushing the whole loop further into the sky. Solarpunk is more about the loop than the visuals. The appeal is in building a base that slowly starts working by itself, with machines powered by sun, wind, and water, while drones take over the boring resource runs. The Adventures of Elliot is Square Enix taking its HD 2D style into a more direct action RPG. Developers behind Octopath Traveler and Bravely Default keep that mix of pixel characters and 3D depth, while the fights now happen in real time, with weapon swapping, dodges, fairy support, and magicite upgrades. Elliot leaves a protected kingdom with his fairy companion after strange ruins appear beyond the barrier. Their journey moves through 4 different ages across 1,000 years, giving each part of the world its own place in history. Age of Reconstruction shows humanity barely surviving in ruined settlements, while Age of Magic jumps back to a time where magic shaped cities and research institutes. Combat gives Elliot 7 weapon types, with stronger versions hidden in caves and ruins away from the main path. His fairy companion works more like active support than a cute follower, with magic lessons and abilities tied into exploration and fights. Optional content gets strange in a very Square Enix way, with life shrines, build accessories, side quests, bonus drops, and even cat collecting spread across the eras. Monopoly Star Wars Heroes vs. Villains turns Hasbro's classic board game into a Star Wars party strategy setup with hero and villain teams, character powers, and shorter sessions. Behavior Interactive is developing it, Ubisoft is publishing, and the format puts more pressure on direct interaction between players. Luke Skywalker, Princess Leia, Darth Vader, and Darth Maul are already confirmed for the roster. Each one can shift the game at the right moment, so the focus moves beyond simple property buying and rent payments. Character choice matters. Dice challenges add quick risks, and themed spaces give the board more ways to change during a round. The main modes are 2v2 and 3v3, with online play and local couch co-op for up to 6 players. Dynamic Go events can change the flow mid-session, and the whole thing is clearly aimed at people who want a lighter Star Wars take on Monopoly with more chaos between turns. It also has custom Star Wars locations from across the saga, cinematic moments, unlockable cosmetics, and cross-platform multiplayer on PC. COPA City takes football away from the pitch and puts the stress around the stadium. Triple Espresso is building a matchday management game where the job is to prepare the whole city before the first whistle. You keep crowds moving through the city, make sure the stadium is ready before the gates open, and deal with fan zones, safety problems, media pressure, and angry locals as the streets fill with supporters. The interesting part is the licensed club culture. Borussia Dortmund, Bayern, Arsenal, Flamengo, Besiktas, and Marseille all bring different supporter behavior, colors, chants, and expectations. Ultras need a different setup than families, and core supporters sit somewhere in the middle, so one match can feel very different from another depending on who arrives in the city. Warsaw, Berlin, and Rio de Janeiro are the main cities, each with its own districts and transport problems. Success is measured through match readiness, built from money, specialists, volunteers, infrastructure, and crowd control. It is more about event pressure than football tactics, which makes it stand out in a month full of more traditional sports releases. For Xbox owners, there is finally a good bonus in June. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, the 2024 release that skipped Xbox at launch, is getting its Xbox Series version. This is the second part of the Final Fantasy VII Remake trilogy, where Cloud and the party leave Midgar and move into a much larger journey across Gaia. Rebirth is the chapter where the project really opens up. The game opens into wide regions, and the road to the Forgotten Capital mixes real-time combat and party synergy attacks with Queen's Blood card matches, monster hunts, and side stories. The bigger spaces also give the group more time together between the main story beats, which is a big part of why this entry landed so strongly with fans. Square Enix is bringing the Xbox version with Play Anywhere support, so one purchase works across Xbox Series and Xbox on PC. A free demo is already available, and progress can carry into the full game. This version also adds an easier story setup. It can give players unlimited health and magic, make special attacks easier to use, and speed up weapon upgrades, letting people who mainly want the story move through the game faster. Let me know in the comments what actually caught your eye this month and what you're planning to play. Leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet, and if you want to see the bigger upcoming releases after this quieter June lineup, I've got 2 more videos for you right here.